Hi, I'm Golf Magazine Top 100 instructor Tom Stickney, and I figured I'd give you a little treat today. We're going to get into the sand Puttlab, and I'm going to kind of show you how it works. Now, here's the fun part. I usually putt with a belly putter, but since the USGA has been so delightfully inclined to ban the belly putter, this is my first attempt at a short putter. So here we go. We're going to try our putts, and we're going to see what happens. And it'll take a second to get this data, but we'll go ahead and hit 10 putts and see what happens. Now, I'm not looking up to see where my putter's aligned or any of that stuff. I'm just making sure that I make the same putt over and over and over again. Let's see, after 5 putts. And this is a great little training aid. I highly recommend, if you've never been on a sand Puttlab, go to Science in Motion Golf and figure out where the nearest sand Puttlab is to you. It's well worth the time to go experiment with it. This could be interesting. A couple more. Hang on. Bear with me. Oops. Two more. All right, so let's see what happens. This ought to be fun. I'm going to try to do this without getting in the way of the camera here. So we'll go to screen so we can see it. All right. So basically what we can see here at address is my face is just a little bit closed, 1.7 degrees, which means I have to make some sort of manipulation between address and impact, obviously not to hit it left. So you can see that my putter is closed at address, I'm opening it up coming down, and I'm still pulling across it because my shoulders have a tendency to be open. So this should tell me at address that I need to line up the stripe of the golf ball where I'm going, because I don't do a very good job at lining it up. And then I had to make sure I square my shoulders, because obviously when my shoulders are open, I'll tend to cut across it just a little bit. And this will make the ball start, obviously, 1.4 degrees to the left, and I tend to miss my putts to the left. So, face alignment at address, face alignment at impact, and putter path all correlate. You can see here that my strokes are very short and tight because I hit the same putt over and over again, and you can see I pulled right across it coming down. All the strokes look very symmetrical. Now, this is pretty interesting. I am more of a square-to-square type of putter. It's not the way, it's not what I believe in. I could care less if it's arc or square-to-square. It was just the way I was taught. And you can see that my putter path has a very, very small arc. Even though I'm pulling across it, if I was to move this red line up a little bit, you can see that it wouldn't arc a whole bunch. So I spent a lot of time on a chalk line. Here again, might or might not be the right thing for me. Impact points, a little high on the face. A little bit flat with the putter, not too bad, or the putter, excuse me, is a little bit too flat for me. Now this is pretty interesting. This is your rise angle. You see the putter descends, flattens out, hits the ball, goes back up. So what we want to see is my rise angle. In other words, I catch the ball on, it flattens out, it just goes up just a little bit, and you can see it's only moving 1 degree up, and then I back the putter up just a little bit, about a half a degree. So now I've got a launch, it's about 3 degrees, which means that I've got this ball jumping up in the air and it has some backspin to it. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that I keep my hands out of the stroke and try not to slap at it quite so much. So come down here, you can see if I'm more of a square-to-square type of style, you're not going to see a lot of opening and you're not going to see a lot of closing. You will see a little bit more closing coming through because of my propensity to pull across it. Obviously a little bit out to in with an open face because I don't want to hit left all day. These are my speed graphs, very, very consistent speed. You can see right here the acceleration through impact looks pretty good. It's going up, so on and so forth. So what does all this mean? Basically what it means is I need to do a much better job at lining up the putter so I don't have to make such a big change at impact. You can see I started 1.7 degrees closed. I have to open it up a whole bunch in order for me not to pull it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my stripe. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to square my shoulder so I stop pulling across it quite so much, because once I pull across this ball quite so much, it's going to really have the tendency to move to the left. And you can see that the ball started obviously to the left. As far as anything else is concerned, that just tells me that I need to be a little bit more consistent with my lie angle. I need to kind of fiddle with my fitting a little bit more. Here, with the rise angle being a little bit low and me jumping it up in the air, I might want to put my golf ball up a little bit to get that ball to catch a little bit more on the upswing, so I make that ball kind of roll a little bit more. So basically for me, it's pretty much a setup issue. So number one, we're going to line up the stripe, square our shoulders, and make sure that our ball is up just a little bit. So that's the great thing about the Sam Puttlab. It tells you a lot about what's going on. It's pretty interesting information. As I said, go to Science in Motion Golf or contact me at tom@tomstickneygolf.com, and I will make sure we find somebody with a Sam Puttlab in your area. It is a really, really cool machine.